Good morning, class. Today we will go over Python's dictionary. This is a new concept and a new data structure, so it will be fun to learn. Let's dive in. What is a dictionary? We are all familiar with a real-life dictionary, don't we? When we want to look up a word and its definition, what we usually do is to go to any type of online dictionary or online search engine, type in the words, and the website will return the definition of the word for us. And you could do the same thing as with a paper dictionary too. You can try to look up a word, but you need to know exactly the words that you want to look up, and then you try to find it inside a paper dictionary. However, I doubt if a paper dictionary is something that's really popular now. So the problem is, how do we represent a real life dictionary in Python? And the answer is simple. Python provides a data structure, and we call it a dictionary. In other languages, you can also heard of HashMap, but it's dictionary in Python. And a dictionary is the key and value type of data structures. And what does that mean? What does keys and value mean? Let's look at two of the examples that we have here. The first example is the list of STD words um, that we have in here, and the second example is the list of Wikipedia pages. By list, I don't mean this is an array. Um, we represent the list in here using a dictionary, and the syntax to declare a new dictionary in Python is having a variable to contain it, equal sign, and open curly bracket. So the key in our dictionary is the words, and the value in this case is the definition of the words. Each of these key and value forms a pair, and a pair we call is an item in our dictionary. We separate each pairs of the dictionary with a comma. So this is a must. It's similar to separating between an element in an array with a comma. And in our second example of Wikipedia pages, the keys in here are the terms that we want to look up, and the value in here is um, the URL of that terms. So for keys in dictionaries, keys needs to be unique. You can only have one altruistic word in our dictionary, just as you can only have one Steve Jobs word in our Wikipedia pages. And this is important because it make it different from an array, because in an array you don't have a key, you only have index numbers 1 2 3 4 5. But in dictionary you refer to item using their keys, so the uniqueness of the key is something that help us later on when we try to access the value of our item. And the key is in a dictionary are always string. The value can be anything that you want it to be. It could be a string, a number, a list, or another dictionary. But let's keep it simple for now, and then I'll refer to both using both keys and value as string for now. There are some of the operations that we will go over for dictionary. The first one is accessing an item in our dictionary. Let's look at the example SCT words that we have in here. We have four key value pairs of four items. And to access an existing item in our dictionary, the syntax is just refer to the dictionary, open square bracket, and then put in the key and close square bracket, and then you will see the value return. So this is exactly the same thing happens when you type in a words in Google search or in any online dictionary, the value will be returned. For some cases, if you try to access an item that doesn't exist in our dictionary, Python will throw an error to you, and as you can see here, it's a key error. That means the key doesn't exist inside our dictionary. The example that I have here is no one. It sounds real, but it's completely made up words. And what we would generally want to do is to do a check if that key exists in our dictionary before using it. And there are two ways we can achieve that. The first way is from line 5 to 8, and the second way is from line 10. So we will use an if-else condition from line 5 to 9, 5 to 8 to check if the key is in our dictionary and then use it. If it's not, then we're gonna print an error message. So this is really simple, but it's kind of long. The other way is to use as the get method inside our dictionary that takes in two arguments. The first one is the key that we want to look up, and the second one is the default value when the value doesn't exist. So when the key doesn't exist. So in this case, if nova noi exists, it will print the word doesn't exist. It will print the definition of nova noi. If it doesn't exist, and then it will print the word doesn't exist message. So generally, we want to do this check whenever we try to access an item in the dictionary, because we don't want our program to break, and we don't want it to we don't want and sometimes it's just really difficult to know which key is in our dictionary, because sometimes it could get really big. The other operation we will look at is adding a new item into our dictionary. In here, I have the word debilitate, and I want to add it into our SAT words dictionary. The syntax to add it is really simple. You would use the same syntax when you try to access the element using its key. So SAT words, open square bracket, the key, and then equal to the value of the words. But in this case, I don't really like the definition I found for debilitate. It's to impair the strength of someone. That doesn't really sound intuitive. I want something simpler. And as I look it up, I got a simpler definition. So now if I want to update the item, the syntax to update the item is exactly the same as the syntax to add an item into our dictionary. It just, instead of adding a new item, it will replace the item with the new definition, that with the new value that we have just provided. It's now to make someone physically or mentally weak. So this is much more easier to understand, in my opinion. So the question that we want to raise here is when to use the dictionary. We have two types of data structure that we have learned about, a list and a dictionary. And these are the majority of the data structure that you will meet during your journey to computer science, at least in the earlier phase of your journey to computer science. And it's sometimes not an easy question to answer. This will come with practice for sure. What I would recommend is to evaluate between both list and dictionary when trying to solving a problems using which type data structure. If you see that it's easier to manipulate and to store data into dictionary than list, then use a dictionaries. Otherwise, if the operation of a list are really easy to implement, and if the list is also easy to represent our data, then use a list. Some of the problem that could be visibly better if you can use a dictionary. For example, the actual dictionary problems, we can use a list to represent that, but if it gets really complicated, and it's also unnecessarily complicated, um, and there's an element that we could see that we can definitely use a dictionary here, and that element is the key. Because in a list there is no keys, but it's in the dictionary is that unique identifier that you can use um, to help with lookup and to help with adding items into our data structure. So let's look at this week labs. We have a phone book as a dictionary with three items already inside our phone book. And what we want you to do is to, based on our user input, you will perform the correct actions. So if our user input an add action, you want to ask for what they want to be added and then add that um, item into our dictionary. And then if they want to show an item in the dictionary, you would ask for the key and then show the item of our dictionary. Um, in this case, for example, if they want to ask for the emergency number, they will need to provide the emergency input as an input, emergency key as an input, and then you want to print out the value. The rest of the program has been implemented for you for the quick choice and any of the invalid comment. So yeah, I'm looking forward to your submissions and good luck.